Stay tuned and let's check out this Marvel Legends exclusive Doctor Strange. Pow, and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And remember, you can now hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Quite simply show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. So the new year is here, 2022, and already we have some new Marvel Legends. As in front of me today, we have the Marvel Legends exclusive Doctor Strange. Now, I believe in the US, this is going to be exclusive to Walmart. There are no Walmarts over here in the UK, so I got mine from In Demand Toys. I will put a link in the description, but it's readily available right now. And I, for one, am very happy to finally get Doctor Strange in the modern Hasbro era in his more iconic classic looks. A few years ago, I had a bit of a comic book purge and got rid of some characters and figures from my collection that I never considered their iconic looks, my mind's eye version, if you will. So I currently have no comic Doctor Strange in my collection. I know, but I do now, and I'm very happy it's this one, as this genuinely looks like my mind's eye version of Strange. And instead of a Build-A-Figure piece, because it's an exclusive, the box comes packed with accessories for Doctor Strange, interchangeable heads and artifacts from the Sanctorum. So excited about this one. Definitely want a classic looking Strange on my comic shelf, and yeah, this looks good. So there are all the pieces in the box. We will break down those pieces as we open the figure. On the side of the box, we get a comic image of Strange, that same image on the back of the box. So no wave association, so no Build-A-Figure or cross sale or anything like that, but we do get a write-up that reads: Stephen Strange was a brilliant surgeon before an accident ruined his hands. Now he defends our reality from supernatural threats as Earth's Sorcerer Supreme. So if you know Doctor Strange, you know the score, but this is a great looking Doctor Strange. As I said, definitely my mind's eye with some interesting pieces. So let's stop rambling and get him open. So here we have Strange out of the packaging with all of his accessories and artifacts on the table. And as he is a single packed exclusive with no Build-A-Figure, we do get more pieces and accessories than we usually would, which is not a complaint, as I love options on a display, and this Strange has exactly that. But first things first, my first impressions of this figure, this is undoubtedly my mind's eye version of Doctor Strange. The colours are definitely going to pop and stand out in a display with those classic blues and yellows, and then the contrasting red with the cape. So any Marvel fan will be able to spot this guy on a display and undoubtedly know it is Doctor Strange with the silhouette and the colours. Very nice. So no disputing that at all. This looks very nice. But the one complaint people will have is that I hope you want to display your Strange with the cape, because it is non-removable. The cloak is actually glued in up here at the chest. So unless you cut that off and make a complete mess of this figure, you're not going to remove the cape. The cape is nice, is sculpted quite nicely with some details, but unfortunately it's not going to come off at all. I will use that to my advantage, as I'll probably display him on a flight stand and use the cape to hold him up. But I'll show you that in the video. But yeah, first things first, the cape is non-removable, but it does have lots of other accessories you can use to mix and match and create your own ultimate Doctor Strange. So of course he has a meditating Doctor Strange head with his eyes closed. We've got the Blue Man Group Strange, which is a mask that he wore in the comics to hide his identity from a wizard. I'll explain that as we go through. Some interchangeable hands that help him hold some of his artifacts, like the wonderful tomb that we've seen in the comics many times. He doesn't use it a lot, to be honest, if at all, but it is in the back of panels and on comic pages. Definitely an artifact that Doctor Strange fans will recognise. And then we get the axe of Angarumus. Now, Doctor Strange found this in a crypt in the centre of the moon. Not a lie. And he uses this quite a lot. This was sort of like Doctor Strange's Mjolnir for a while, if you will. So yeah, he's definitely used that quite a lot. And then we've got some magical effects that, again, it's Doctor Strange. We've seen these effects many a time with Legends over the years. For maybe 6+ years we've been seeing these effects. But if they work and do the trick, no complaints from me. I like displaying a character on shelf, displaying some of his abilities. So we have options. But before we look at them in more detail, let's take a closer look at Doctor Strange himself. Let's start with this Doctor Strange head sculpt, which is beautiful. This is undoubtedly Doctor Strange in my mind. Like, he's got the moustache, he's got the nice quiff with the hair, and he's even got those grey sort of scruffs either side. And yeah, this is just a nice looking facial expression for Strange. Obviously, his head is buried in the sort of collar of the cloak, which works really nicely. As I said, it cuts a very nice silhouette. And yeah, but this is just a really nice head sculpt. I don't think they're using the 3D digital print. Maybe in the eyes. I don't know what they're doing, but either way, it looks good. This is definitely the best Strange head sculpt I think we have in Legends form. So that's really, really nice. And the head does articulate on the ball, even though it's buried in there on the neck, of course. And yeah, this just looks really, really good. So yeah, all the way around to the back. There's the back view. Obviously, the collar comes all the way up to the top of his head. But there you go. From the front, there you go. Looks really, really nice. So we do have options with the head. So let's check them out before we look at the rest of the figure. The first one, we have our meditating Doctor Strange. And this face sculpt works so well for a meditating pose. Look, if I just zoom out a little bit, I've got the hands up a little bit. And there you go. Doctor Strange is meditating away. And yeah, this works really well. Obviously, he could be sleeping. He could be dead, unfortunately. I know the death of Doctor Strange is happening in the comics right now. But yeah, this obviously is meant for a meditating head sculpt when he's deep in his mystical thoughts. And yeah, this looks really good. His hair's a little bit more scruffy than the other one. As you can see, the quiff's all flying to one side. He's got sideburns now. Still got the grey sort of flicks in the hair. But it is a different head sculpt, hair sculpt, sorry, to the previous one. Still got the moustache. Still got the sort of eyebrows that all work. But yeah, this as a meditating head works so very well. This last head sculpt is a blue mask that Doctor Strange wore in the comics to hide his identity from a wizard that was trying to steal it from him. So this is accurate to the comic pages, apart from the neck would have been blue as well. Like the mask he wore would have covered all that skin tone on his neck. So to make it comic accurate, you would have to paint the neck blue, and then you'd get a nice comic accurate Doctor Strange wearing the mask. Because after that initial part in the comics where he was hiding his identity, he did continue to wear the mask just for a little bit in the comics. So as I said, you may look at this and think, what's this from? But I assure you it happened in the comics. Doctor Strange wore a mask for a brief period of time. And yeah, as I said, it was to hide his identity. But there we got it in Legends form. So again, if you paint that neck blue, you'll have it comic accurate. But it's still a nice pack-in, a nice option for display. Continuing to look at Strange, here's a look at the cloak. So that emblem is the point of glue. That's where the cape is actually glued into the chest. So if you did want to remove the cape, you'd have to literally pick out the plastic from the chest, which wouldn't look good. It would ruin the figure. So I'd advise you to just keep the cape on. The cape doesn't look bad either as well. It's sculpted in a way where it looks nice and dynamic. So it's obviously bellowing a little bit at the shoulders, so you can still articulate the arms all the way up, which is a nice touch. So you can still lift the arms all the way up and the cape will stay in place. And then also at this yellow trim from the emblem all the way around the trim of the cape, it has got some nice sculpted swirls and twirls on it, just to give it a little bit of a contrast from the smooth of the red on the cape. And that is literally all the way around, even up to the top here, onto the points of the cape as well. So you see the yellow trim with the sculpted detail. And then the cape, as I said, made of harder plastic, so it's going to stay in shape when you've got it posed. It's not going to like sort of warp out of position. It's going to stay like that on display. So I don't mind that at all, to be fair. As I said, I will pose him wearing the cape, obviously, on a flight stand. So there he is at the front again. Let's zoom in. This logo on the chest, in the comics, is usually a lot lighter. Usually it's seen in white, to be honest. So I would have liked to see this Strange with this logo being in white or a much lighter blue, so it stands out a little bit more because it is sculpted on there. Like you can actually see that emblem is sculpted on there. But I like the way that the emblem shape is very nicely hides, or it doesn't hide, but very nicely in line with the ab crunch there. So you can cut at the abs, and then the logo does continue all the way through the sculpt as well. So as you're articulating, the sculpt does continue, which is nice. And then also the sash, this yellow sash, very nicely hides the waist swivel. So there is a waist swivel there as well. And then the sash, obviously a separate piece that dangles all the way down. He's got like a short skirt piece from the shirt and then black trousers. And these, obviously, legs are a little bit jelly, I'm afraid. Like mine are a little bit warpy, and we've still got the pins in them. So not as good as some of the Marvel Legends we've been seeing of recently. So these still have the pins. The arms, though, have no pins. Pinless arms. I'm sure we've seen these arms before somewhere or other, but they work for Doctor Strange, of course. So they have a single joint elbow, unfortunately. No double joint. But you can still get Strange in these type of poses, which is what people are going to want to do, of course. So yeah, the legs, as I said, they are articulated enough where you're going to be able to get him to, I don't know, cross his legs or something, I'm sure. So, like, you can still get him doing that. Let me zoom out a bit more so you can see what I'm doing. There you go. So you can still articulate the legs decent enough, but they do have the pins in, which ruins the aesthetic, as we are spoilt now with our modern collection with the pinless articulation. Really does make a difference to the display. The inside of the cape is all red, as you can see, all red. No peg or anything at the back there. As you can see, as I said, it's glued in at the front. And there's no extra details or anything at the back there, at the back of his shirt. There are some more details on his gloves. He's got like those black spots just on the sort of cuffs of the gloves, and then he's got completely yellow hands, and he comes with two sort of magical sort of dog impression hands. You know what I'm talking about. Do you know shadow puppet dog hands? That's what I'm talking about. That's what he's doing. But obviously they're Doctor Strange magic hands. We've seen them in the comics. We've seen them a million times, and they work perfectly for Strange. So you can get him in his meditating, his magic poses, etc. So yeah, as I said, this has got a decent range of articulation. As I said, the arms will still get all the way around, hindered a little bit by the cape, but you can still get the poses you want, I think. Single joint at the elbow just because of the sculpt of the sort of bellowing shirt. Nice range of crunch on the chest with the swivel. Legs will go out. As I said, mine's a little bit yellowy. Yellowy. There is a cut there, you see. See that cut? So you can obviously get the legs out, and there's a swivel there at the thigh. Double jointed knees, which will kick his own ass. There is a swivel at the boot, even though he's not wearing boots, and then a decent ankle pivot as well. So decent range on this guy. I do think you're going to be able to get this Strange in some nice poses. I just think the biggest hindrance of this figure are going to be people wanting to remove the cape. However, remember some of the old Doctor Strange capes we have where they just don't really sit properly on the figure and they fall off and you can't pose them properly? At least this is glued, and if you want to display your Strange with a cape, which is the Doctor Strange look, let's be honest, then it's now glued into pale ace with a nice sculpt. So I understand why they've done it, and I'm not mad about it. And as I said, I'll get it on a flight stand in a minute. But yeah, Doctor Strange looking good. Strange also comes with a couple of interchangeable hands. We get a left-handed fist, so we can punch the bad guys, but then we get a right hand, which is a grip, so we can hold some of these artifacts he comes with, which include, first up, we have the Axe of Angarumus, which, as I said, Strange found in a crypt on the center of the moon. He took it, and then he had to start using it against mystical creatures that came to try and eat it. So Strange ended up using it quite a bit in the comics, and as I said, it became his sort of weapon of choice for a while. And this is the first time we've got it in Legends form, I believe, and it is a unique sculpt. You can see it's got a bit of use there with some nicks and scratches on the sort of blade, and then some nice details carved in on the center with a little sort of arrowhead there at the top on a black sort of spear with a little bit more silver down here. And again, there's some more details sculpted in on the end there as well. But yeah, as you can see, looks very nice. Some nice wash on there as well to bring out those details. Looks really good. The only disappointing thing is, for me, is that Strange only comes with one hand to sort of hold it. He has one gripping right hand. It would have been good to get a set of gripping hands so we can get Strange like wielding the axe with two hands, so you can do a proper axe swinging pose with Strange. But it's still a nice accessory that you can get Strange to hold on the shelf for his weapon of choice. But there you go. You've got the Axe of Angarumus. Next, we have the Wand of Watum, which Strange has had in his possession for a very long time. I don't know where he got it from, but he's always had it in the Sanctum as an artifact, and it has been stole off him a few times from this warlock called Xanadu, and Xanadu is the one that uses it against Strange. So Strange had to break it in half, hide it, and there is a little bit of articulation on this wand. Like, you can like twist their heads a little bit. See how I've just twisted them? It doesn't break in half. That would have been a nice touch if it did. But yeah, Wand of Watum, definitely an artifact you'd recognise from the Strange comics, always in the back of the Sanctum. And yeah, definitely, we've seen multiple versions as well, I believe. So curious to know more about this, but it is very mysterious in the comics himself. But definitely a possession, an artifact that Strange has. So a nice, unique accessory. And then finally, we get two of these translucent, yellowy orange mystical effects that we have gotten in the past with mystical characters like Scarlet Witch, and they do the job. They definitely display really nice, to be fair, when you can hook them just in between the hands. There's no real rules to how you display these, but they definitely add a little bit of mysticism to the display, and I do like it when you can display a character showing off some abilities or powers, and these do the trick. These do the quick trick for a comic Doctor Strange magic effects, and they do clip onto the hands very nicely as well. So you have options for display, whether it's an artifact, magical effects, or interchangeable heads. Again, I do think people are going to appreciate this Doctor Strange. And finally, I wanted to see how Strange would look on a flight stand, and of course, as expected, he looks great. So all I've done is tuck in the flight stand behind the cape there, and obviously when you pose him up to the front, it hides it really well, and the cape is sculpted in a dynamic sort of flary way, so it's just going to sit really nicely, and I love it when you can display a character on a shelf that not only displays his ability, but also just brings the shelf to life a little bit more dynamic, and yeah, this looks great. This is undoubtedly a really nice comic Doctor Strange, and even if the cape was removable, I think I'd pose him with the cape, and the advantages of the sculpted cape glued in place is that you know it's not going to warp or fall out of place, and it just looks really nice and clean on a shelf. So I'm sure people out there are going to attempt to put a cloth goods cape on this Strange, but I think this looks great as it is for me personally. But I understand people's preferences are different, and I understand their qualms, and people like options, but yeah, put this Strange on a flight stand, get some of those effect pieces up on the shelf, and look at that, you're good to go. This looks great. Moving into some comparisons, as I mentioned at the top of the video, I don't currently have any other comic Doctor Stranges. I was waiting for a new one, and here he is. So instead, let's start off with a comic versus MCU comparison and see where the movies took their inspiration from. So we got Benedict Cumberbatch's Stephen Strange, of course, next to our comic Strange, and you can see where the similarities lie, but again, the comic one just pops that a little bit more. We need to see Strange in the movies with a bit more yellow. When it comes to comic comparisons, I could honestly be here all day because Doctor Strange could genuinely fit into lots of different places on a display, whether it be the Defenders with Hulk, Silver Surfer and Namor, or even the Midnight Suns with Blade and Ghost Rider, and even the Illuminati with Tony Stark and Reed Richards here. We're just missing T'Challa, Black Panther, Charles Xavier and Namor again, of course. So yes, this Strange will genuinely fit into a lot of places on a comic display, and I'll just go for a couple. Here's Reed and Tony. Here we have Strange compared to Dormammu and Scarlet Witch. This is the Family Matters 3-pack version where it's a little bit more metallic than the recent vintage carded version that's come out. But again, Strange looks great compared to these mystical characters. And again, Dormammu and this Strange, two recent new characters, figures for our collection, and these look great together. Here we have Strange compared to Spider-Man and Shang-Chi, and someone asked if these Strange heads will fit on this Shang-Chi body. So these heads will pop onto other Marvel Legend bodies. So here we have the meditating Strange head on this Shang-Chi body. If you wanted a shirtless Strange, it would sort of work, but then the skin tones don't really match. But I'm sure you can use this head on a previous Doctor Strange figure that I don't currently have. But you have options. Here we have Strange compared to a couple of different versions of Captain America, in case you're building your own Avengers on a team and you want to see where this Strange fits in better aesthetically. So here we have the Onslaught Captain America and the 80th anniversary Captain America. Last but of course not least, here we have Doctor Strange compared to Captain Britain and Worthy Hellfire Hank. Final thoughts, I think this is an excellent Marvel Legends Doctor Strange. This may be the best comic Doctor Strange we have in Marvel Legends. It's just more iconic with the colours, they definitely pop, and this guy is going to stand out no matter where you put him on a comic book display, whether it's Avengers, Defenders, Illuminati, Midnight Suns, a Mystic display. This guy is going to stand out in a collection on a display, and you have options, whether he's sitting here meditating, legs crossed like this, or is standing there with his mystical effects holding an artifact. Either way, he's going to look great. You let me know in the comments where this Doctor Strange is going to end up on your display. I'm very curious because, as I said, you have plenty of options. This is the most iconic looking Strange I think we have had in the modern Hasbro era. I think he looks great, and I know people are going to dwell on the cape situation, but try not to. Try and focus on the positive. This cape still poses really well, I think, and can help you get him standing on a flight stand, and it's not too much stress. That's how I'm seeing it, and I think it looks good. And at least you know over time it's not going to weep or look terrible or whatever. It's going to look good. So let me know what you think in the comments below, as always. And if you like Marvel Legends reviews, then you're in the right place. Stick around, check out the videos tab, find the playlists, but most importantly, please hit that subscribe button. Much appreciated. You can also hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. I'm on Instagram at It's Dan Who, and I'm on Twitter as well. Tweet me at Dan Who Reviews. And until then, people, my name is Dan W, and I will of course see you on the next one.